Happiness is a universal pursuit, a beacon that guides our actions, choices, and aspirations. Whether we strive for success, nurture relationships, or seek fulfillment, the underlying motivation often boils down to one question: how can I be happy? Yet the path to happiness is rarely straightforward. Society often equates it with external achievements, wealth, status, or pleasure, but these can feel fleeting or incomplete. Enter Buddhism, a philosophy rooted in wisdom and compassion, which offers a profound perspective on happiness as both a personal right and a lifelong journey. The Buddha taught that happiness is not merely a fleeting emotion, but a state cultivated through mindful living. He recognized that every living being, regardless of background, inherently seeks joy. From the simplest acts of waking up, preparing food, or working to sustain life, our daily routines are driven by this longing. Yet he also warned that chasing happiness through material means alone can lead to dissatisfaction. Instead, he proposed a balanced approach, one that honors the joys of worldly life while nurturing deeper spiritual fulfillment. In Buddhist teachings, happiness is categorized into two fundamental types: material and spiritual. Material happiness arises from tangible possessions, sensory pleasures, and outward successes. Spiritual happiness, however, stems from inner peace, ethical living, and liberation from suffering. The Buddha did not dismiss material well-being. He acknowledged its necessity for survival and comfort, but he stressed that true contentment comes from aligning our lives with principles of kindness, wisdom, and self-awareness. To illustrate this balance, Buddhism distinguishes between two lifestyles: the householder and the monk. The householder, anchored in family, career, and societal roles, seeks happiness through relationships, achievements, and material stability. The monk, in contrast, renounces worldly attachments to pursue spiritual awakening. Both paths are valid, but they emphasize different facets of happiness. For householders, the Buddha outlined 4 specific types of joy that, when achieved, lead to a fulfilled life. These 4 types of happiness, ownership, enjoyment, freedom from debt, and blameless living, offer a roadmap for navigating the complexities of modern life. They encourage us to reflect on how we earn, spend, and live with integrity. For example, the happiness of ownership celebrates the joy of creating wealth ethically, while freedom from debt highlights the peace that comes with financial independence. The pinnacle, however, is blameless living, a life guided by compassion, honesty, and selflessness. This introduction to Buddhist teachings on happiness invites you to pause and ask, am I pursuing joy in a way that nourishes both my inner self and my relationships with others? By embracing the wisdom of these teachings, we learn that happiness is not a destination, but a practice, a delicate dance between enjoying life's pleasures and cultivating a heart rooted in purpose and virtue. In the following sections, we will explore these ideas in depth, discovering how Buddhism transforms the pursuit of happiness into a journey of self-discovery and interconnected well-being. Whether you are a seeker of spiritual depth or simply curious about living more intentionally, these teachings offer timeless insights into what it means to thrive. Join us as we unravel the art of happiness, one mindful step at a time. The Happiness of Ownership, Attisukha, a deep dive. Introduction to Attisukha. The journey toward happiness begins with understanding that true joy is built on a foundation of righteousness and integrity. In Buddhist teachings, the first type of happiness that householders are encouraged to achieve is known as Attisukha, or the happiness of ownership. This concept goes far beyond mere possession of material goods. It embodies the profound sense of fulfillment that comes from earning and owning wealth through ethical means. Attisukha is not merely about having things, but about creating and stewarding resources in a way that aligns with our highest values and respects the interconnectedness of all beings. The righteous earning of wealth. At the heart of Attisukha is the principle of earning wealth righteously. The Buddha emphasized that the process of acquiring wealth is just as important as the wealth itself. This means that we must approach our work and financial endeavors with a clear conscience, ensuring that our actions do not cause harm to ourselves, others, or the environment. Ethical business practices. In today's world, ethical business practices are more important than ever. For individuals seeking adasukha, this might mean choosing employment that aligns with their values, such as working for companies that prioritize sustainability, fair labor practices, and social responsibility. It could involve starting your own business with a commitment to transparency, honesty, and compassion in all dealings. Ethical business practices ensure that the wealth we accumulate is clean and untainted by exploitation or deceit. Honesty and integrity in financial matters. Honesty is a cornerstone of righteous earning. This includes being truthful in financial transactions, avoiding fraud and maintaining transparency in all dealings. Whether it's filing accurate tax returns, being upfront about product information, or honoring contracts, honesty builds trust and integrity. The wealth earned through honesty carries a special kind of energy. It's wealth that supports not only our material well-being, but also our spiritual growth. Avoiding harm. A critical aspect of righteous earning is avoiding harm. This means steering clear of industries and practices that cause suffering to others or the environment. For example, businesses involved in weapons manufacturing, human trafficking, or environmental destruction are antithetical to the principles of adasukha. Instead, we are called to seek opportunities that benefit others and contribute positively to the world. The legitimate joy of ownership. When we earn wealth righteously, the joy that comes from ownership is pure and lasting. This joy is not based on the fleeting satisfaction of possessing something new, but rather on the deep sense of accomplishment and integrity that comes from knowing we've worked hard and ethically to create value. Personal fulfillment. The happiness of ownership is deeply personal. It arises from within when we recognize the effort, time, and energy we've invested in our work. This fulfillment is a testament to our capabilities and our commitment to doing things the right way. It's a quiet but powerful satisfaction that grows stronger over time as we continue to build our lives on a foundation of integrity. Financial security. Owning wealth earned righteously also brings financial security. This security is not just about having money in the bank, it's about having the means to support ourselves and our loved ones, to plan for the future, and to weather life's inevitable storms. Financial security reduces stress and anxiety, allowing us to focus on other aspects of life that bring us joy and fulfillment. Building generational wealth. For many householders, the happiness of ownership extends to the idea of building generational wealth. This is the joy that comes from knowing that we are creating a legacy of financial stability and opportunity for future generations. By earning and managing wealth responsibly, we can provide our children and grandchildren with a foundation upon which they can build their own lives of happiness and fulfillment. Practical applications in modern life. Applying the principles of adasukha in today's complex world requires mindfulness and intention. Here are some practical ways to cultivate the happiness of ownership in modern life. Responsible investing. Responsible investing involves putting our money into ventures that align with our values. This could mean investing in renewable energy companies, social enterprises, or businesses with strong environmental, social, and governance (ESG) practices. By directing our financial resources toward positive change, we ensure that our wealth continues to grow in a way that supports our commitment to righteousness. Ethical consumerism. As consumers, we have the power to support businesses that operate ethically by making mindful purchasing decisions, choosing products that are sustainably produced, fairly traded, and cruelty-free. We reinforce the market for ethical goods and services. Ethical consumerism is a direct expression of our values and a way to ensure that our financial support contributes to a more just and compassionate world. Financial planning and management. Good financial planning is essential for realizing the happiness of ownership. This includes budgeting, saving, and investing wisely to ensure that our wealth grows and is preserved for the long term. It also involves being mindful of our spending habits and avoiding unnecessary debt. By managing our finances responsibly, we create the conditions for sustained happiness and security. Hatha Sukha and the broader Buddhist perspective on happiness. The happiness of ownership is just one facet of the rich tapestry of Buddhist teachings on happiness. While it focuses specifically on the joys of ethical wealth creation and stewardship, it is interconnected with the other types of happiness that the Buddha outlined for householders. Connection to the other types of happiness. Hatha Sukha lays the groundwork for the other three types of happiness. The happiness of enjoyment, freedom from debt, and blameless living. When we own wealth righteously, we are better positioned to enjoy it in meaningful ways, to become debt-free, and to live with a clear conscience. Each type of happiness builds upon the others, creating a holistic foundation for a fulfilling life. The middle way. Buddhism advocates for the middle way, a path that avoids extremes of indulgence and asceticism. The happiness of ownership embodies this principle by encouraging us to engage with the material world in a balanced and mindful way. We are neither renouncing wealth altogether nor becoming attached to it. Instead, we are learning to relate to it skillfully as a resource for creating happiness for ourselves and others. Challenges and solutions in pursuing Hatha Sukha. While the principles of Hatha Sukha are profound and timeless, applying them in the real world can present challenges. Here are some common obstacles and strategies for overcoming them. The temptation of quick wealth. In a society that often glorifies get-rich-quick schemes and overnight success, it can be tempting to cut corners in pursuit of wealth. However, such approaches rarely lead to lasting happiness and often result in harm to ourselves and others. To overcome this temptation, we must cultivate patience and a long-term perspective, recognizing that true wealth is built gradually through consistent effort and ethical practices. Navigating gray areas in business and finance. In complex business environments, it's not always clear what constitutes righteous earning. There may be gray areas where the ethical implications of certain actions are not immediately obvious. In such situations, it's helpful to rely on the guiding principles of the Buddha's teachings, using our intuition and wisdom to make decisions that align with our values. Seeking guidance from mentors or communities committed to ethical living can also provide valuable support. Balancing financial goals with spiritual growth. For some, the pursuit of wealth, even ethical wealth, can become all-consuming, overshadowing spiritual growth and other important aspects of life. To maintain balance, it's essential to regularly reflect on our priorities and ensure that our financial goals serve our broader aspirations for happiness and fulfillment. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and regular self-assessment can help keep us grounded and focused on what truly matters. Conclusion. The happiness of ownership, or Hatha Sukha, offers a profound and practical approach to engaging with the material world in a way that supports our well-being and aligns with our deepest values. By earning wealth righteously and owning it with integrity, we create a foundation for happiness that extends far beyond mere material possession. This joy is a testament to our commitment to doing things the right way, to our capacity for hard work and perseverance, and to our understanding that true happiness is found in harmony with others and the world around us. As we continue to explore the other types of happiness outlined by the Buddha, we'll discover how Hatha Sukha intertwines with them to form a comprehensive path toward a life of fulfillment and joy. By embracing these teachings, we can navigate the complexities of modern life with wisdom and compassion, ultimately creating a legacy of happiness that benefits not only ourselves but all beings we touch. The happiness of enjoyment, Bhoga Sukha, a deep dive. Introduction to Bhoga Sukha. Having established a foundation of righteous wealth through Hatha Sukha, we now turn to the second type of happiness that the Buddha outlined for householders, This concept invites us to thoughtfully and mindfully engage with the pleasures and comforts that our hard-earned wealth can provide. Bhagasukkha is not about indulgence or excess, rather it is about finding joy in the experiences and connections that wealth can facilitate, all while maintaining ethical integrity and compassion. The ethical dimensions of enjoyment. At the core of Bhagasukkha is the principle that enjoyment must be pursued in a way that does not cause harm to oneself or others. This ethical framework ensures that the happiness we derive from our possessions and experiences is pure and untainted by negative consequences. Mindful spending. Mindful spending is central to Bhagasukkha. It involves being fully aware of our financial decisions and considering the impact of our purchases on our well-being and the well-being of others. This means avoiding impulsive buying and instead focusing on acquisitions that truly add value to our lives and the lives of those around us. The joy of sharing. A significant aspect of Bhagasukkha is the happiness that comes from sharing our resources with others. Whether it's providing for our families, supporting friends in need, or contributing to charitable causes, the act of generosity creates a profound sense of fulfillment. The Buddha taught that when we use our wealth to benefit others, we not only bring them joy, but also cultivate our own capacity for compassion and connection. Practical applications of Bhagasukkha in daily life. Applying the principles of Bhagasukkha in our everyday lives requires intention and reflection. Here are some practical ways to cultivate this type of happiness. Creating meaningful experiences. Rather than focusing solely on acquiring material possessions, Bhagasukkha encourages us to invest in experiences that enrich our lives. This could include traveling to new places, engaging in hobbies, or participating in cultural activities. These experiences often provide deeper and more lasting sources of joy than material items. Nurturing relationships. Wealth can be a powerful tool for strengthening relationships. By using our resources to spend quality time with loved ones, whether through family vacations, shared meals, or supporting each other's interests, we create memories and bonds that contribute significantly to our happiness. Supporting causes that matter. Identifying and supporting causes that align with our values is a meaningful way to derive happiness from our wealth. This could involve donating to organizations that work towards social justice, environmental conservation, or education. It could also mean volunteering our time or skills to make a positive impact. Bhagasukkha and the broader Buddhist perspective. The happiness of enjoyment is deeply interconnected with the other types of happiness outlined by the Buddha. It builds upon the foundation of righteous wealth creation, atisika, and paves the way for the subsequent types of happiness, freedom from debt and blameless living. Balance and the middle way. Like all Buddhist teachings, Bhagasukkha emphasizes balance. It acknowledges the legitimacy of enjoying material comforts while cautioning against excessive attachment or indulgence. By embracing the middle way, we learn to enjoy life's pleasures without losing sight of our spiritual goals and ethical commitments. Challenges in pursuing Bhagasukkha and how to overcome them. As with any path toward happiness, there are challenges to pursuing Bhagasukkha. Here are some common obstacles and strategies for overcoming them. The pitfall of consumerism. In a consumer-driven society, it's easy to confuse happiness with the accumulation of possessions. This can lead to a cycle of buying and wanting without ever achieving true fulfillment. To counter this, we must cultivate mindfulness and regularly reflect on what truly brings us joy. Practicing gratitude can also help us appreciate what we already have and reduce the urge for unnecessary purchases. The delicate balance of generosity. While generosity is a noble quality, it's important to practice it in a way that is sustainable and doesn't lead to financial strain. This requires setting healthy boundaries and ensuring that our acts of kindness align with our own financial well-being. By planning our giving and being mindful of our resources, we can maintain a healthy balance. Overcoming the fear of enjoyment. For some, particularly those who have renounced material wealth for spiritual reasons, There may be a fear of embracing enjoyment. However, Bohogasukha is not about attachment, it's about finding joy in the present moment through mindful engagement. By understanding this distinction, we can release any guilt or fear associated with enjoying the fruits of our labor. Conclusion: the happiness of enjoyment, or Bhogasukha, teaches us that joy can be found in the thoughtful and ethical use of our resources. It encourages us to move beyond mere possession and into a space where we can fully appreciate and share the blessings of our wealth. By doing so, we not only enhance our own happiness, but also contribute to the well-being of those around us. As we continue to explore the Buddha's teachings on happiness, we'll discover how Bhogasukha intertwines with the remaining types of happiness to create a holistic path toward a fulfilling and meaningful life. By embracing these teachings, we learn to navigate the joys and challenges of worldly life with wisdom, compassion, and integrity. The happiness of freedom from debt, Ananasukha, a path to peace and prosperity. Introduction to Ananasukha. In the journey toward a fulfilling and balanced life, the Buddha identified a crucial milestone in the pursuit of happiness, the happiness of freedom from debt, or Ananasukha. This type of happiness represents the profound sense of peace and liberation that comes from being free from financial obligations and the stress they often entail. In a world where debt can feel like an inescapable part of modern life, the teachings on Ananasukha offer a beacon of hope and practical wisdom for those seeking financial freedom and inner peace. Understanding Ananasukha, the weight of debt. Debt can be a heavy burden that weighs on our minds and hearts. It creates a cycle of dependency where we are constantly working to repay what we owe, often at the expense of our well-being and peace of mind. The stress of debt can lead to anxiety, sleepless nights, and a constant sense of unease. It can strain relationships and limit our ability to enjoy the present moment. The freedom of being debt-free. In contrast, the happiness of freedom from debt is a liberation that touches every aspect of our lives. When we are free from debt, we experience a lightness and ease that allows us to focus on what truly matters. Financial independence brings with it a sense of security and autonomy, enabling us to make choices that align with our values and aspirations rather than being dictated by financial necessity. The ethical and practical dimensions of Ananasukha. Ethical financial practices. The Buddha's teachings on Ananasukha are deeply intertwined with ethical considerations. Avoiding debt is not just a personal financial strategy, it is also a matter of integrity and respect for others. Taking on debt responsibly means honoring our commitments and avoiding situations where we might exploit others or engage in unsustainable financial practices. Mindful borrowing. While the ideal is to be free from debt, there are situations where borrowing may be necessary, such as for education or a home. In these cases, mindful borrowing is essential. This involves carefully assessing our ability to repay, understanding the terms of the loan, and having a clear plan for managing the debt. Mindful borrowing ensures that we do not take on more than we can handle and that we approach financial obligations with honesty and foresight. Practical steps to achieving Ananasukha. Creating a debt-free financial plan. Achieving freedom from debt requires a well-thought-out plan and consistent action. Here are some practical steps to help you work toward Ananasukha. Assess your current financial situation. Begin by taking a comprehensive look at your income, expenses, and existing debts. Understanding where you stand is the first step toward change. Create a budget. Develop a realistic budget that allocates funds toward debt repayment while covering your essential needs. A budget helps you stay focused and accountable. Prioritize high-interest debt. Focus on paying off high-interest debts first, as they can grow rapidly and become overwhelming. Build an emergency fund. Having a small emergency fund can prevent unexpected expenses from derailing your progress and pushing you further into debt. Increase your income. Explore opportunities to earn additional income, whether through side jobs, freelancing, or selling items you no longer need. Seek professional advice. If you're struggling with debt, consider consulting a financial advisor or credit counselor who can provide guidance and support tailored to your situation. Cultivating discipline and patience. Financial freedom is rarely achieved overnight. It requires discipline, patience, and a commitment to long-term goals. Celebrate small victories along the way, and remember that each step you take brings you closer to the peace and freedom of Ananasukha. Ananasukha and the broader Buddhist path. The happiness of freedom from debt is not an isolated concept, but is deeply interconnected with the other types of happiness outlined by the Buddha. It builds upon the foundation of righteous wealth creation, Attasukha, and mindful enjoyment, Bhogasukha, creating a solid base for the final type of happiness, blameless living. The middle way in financial matters. Once again, the principle of the middle way is essential. Ananasukha encourages us to avoid the extremes of excessive borrowing and unnecessary frugality. It is about finding a balanced approach to money that supports our well-being and allows us to live with integrity. Connection to other aspects of life. Being free from debt also impacts other areas of our lives. It enhances our ability to practice generosity, Bhogasukha, without financial strain, and creates the mental clarity needed for blameless living, Anavagasukha. Each type of happiness supports and reinforces the others, creating a holistic path toward fulfillment. Overcoming obstacles to Ananasukha. Pursuing freedom from debt is not without its challenges. Here are some common obstacles and strategies for overcoming them. The pressure of consumer culture. Society often encourages spending beyond our means and taking on debt to access the latest products or experiences. To resist this pressure, cultivate mindfulness about advertising and consumer trends. Focus on your personal values and goals rather than external influences. Unexpected financial setbacks. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected expenses can derail even the best-laid plans. Building an emergency fund and maintaining insurance coverage can provide a buffer against these setbacks. Additionally, being flexible and willing to adjust your financial plan as needed is crucial. The mindset of scarcity. Sometimes, the belief that we don't have enough can lead to poor financial decisions. Challenge this mindset by practicing gratitude for what you have and focusing on your progress rather than perceived shortcomings. Conclusion. The happiness of freedom from debt, or Anunasukha, is a profound and transformative milestone in the pursuit of a balanced and fulfilling life. It represents not just financial freedom, but also emotional and spiritual liberation. By approaching debt with mindfulness, ethics, and a well-thought-out plan, we can work toward this type of happiness and experience the peace that comes from being free from financial obligations. As we continue to explore the Buddhist teachings on happiness, we'll discover how Anunasukha intertwines with the other types of happiness to create a comprehensive path toward well-being. By embracing these teachings, we learn to navigate the challenges of financial life with wisdom, compassion, and integrity, ultimately creating a foundation for lasting joy and contentment. The happiness from blameless living, Anavajasukha. The culmination of a meaningful life. Introduction to Anavajasukha. In the rich tapestry of Buddhist teachings on happiness, the fourth and most profound type of happiness for householders is Anavajasukha, or the happiness derived from living a blameless life. This is not merely about avoiding wrongdoings, but actively embodying virtues that uplift oneself and others. Anavajasukha represents the pinnacle of a life well lived, where one's actions, words, and thoughts are aligned with integrity, compassion, and wisdom. It is the deep contentment that comes from knowing that you have lived with a clear conscience and have contributed positively to the world around you. Understanding Anavajasukha. The concept of a blameless life. Living a blameless life does not mean perfection, but striving to act with wholesome intentions consistently. It involves making conscious choices that reflect respect for all beings, honesty in relationships, and mindfulness in every action. The Buddha taught that when our lives are grounded in ethical conduct, we experience a profound sense of peace that transcends material comforts. This peace is anavachasukha, a happiness that radiates from within and impacts everyone we encounter. The inner transformation. Anavachasukha begins with inner transformation. It requires cultivating qualities like mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom as the foundation of our daily interactions. When we live with awareness of our thoughts and actions, we become more deliberate in our choices, avoiding harm and fostering positivity. This inner work is the bedrock upon which a blameless life is built. The ethical framework of Anavajasukha, the 5 precepts. Buddhism outlines the 5 precepts as a guide for ethical living, which are central to achieving Anavajasukha. These precepts, abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and intoxicants, are not rigid rules, but practical guidelines for cultivating a life of integrity. Abstaining from killing. This extends beyond physical harm to include payan compassion for all living beings. It encourages actions that preserve life and well-being. Abstaining from stealing, respecting others' possessions and rights, ensuring that we do not take what is not freely given. Abstaining from sexual misconduct, promoting relationships based on consent, respect, and commitment. Abstaining from false speech, committing to honesty, kind speech, and meaningful communication. Abstaining from intoxicants, avoiding substances that cloud the mind and impair judgment, allowing for clarity and presence in life. The role of wisdom and compassion. Wisdom and compassion are the twin pillars of a blameless life. Wisdom enables us to see situations clearly and make decisions that align with our ethical values. Compassion motivates us to act in ways that benefit others, even when it requires personal sacrifice. Together, they create a harmonious and ethical way of being in the world. Practical applications of Anavajasukha in daily life. Cultivating mindfulness in everyday actions. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware in each moment. By cultivating mindfulness, we can make deliberate choices that reflect our commitment to a blameless life. This includes being mindful of our speech, ensuring that our words are kind and truthful, and being mindful of our actions, avoiding harm to others and the environment. Building ethical relationships. Ethical conduct extends to all our relationships. This means being honest and transparent with loved ones, practicing empathy and understanding, and avoiding actions that could hurt or deceive others. Building relationships on a foundation of trust and respect creates a supportive network that enhances our well-being and the well-being of those around us. Engaging in compassionate living. Compassionate living involves looking beyond our immediate needs to consider the impact of our actions on others and the environment. This could mean volunteering for causes that matter, advocating for social justice, or making lifestyle choices that reduce harm to the planet. Compassion in action transforms our lives and contributes to a more just and compassionate world. Navigating moral dilemmas. Life is complex, and moral dilemmas are inevitable. When faced with difficult choices, returning to the principles of the 5 precepts and the cultivation of wisdom and compassion can guide us toward decisions that align with our commitment to a blameless life. Reflecting on the potential consequences of our actions and seeking guidance from trusted mentors or communities can also provide valuable perspective. Anavajasukha and the broader Buddhist path. The foundation for spiritual growth. Anavajasukha is not the endpoint, but a foundation for deeper spiritual growth. When we live with integrity and compassion, we create the conditions for exploring more advanced Buddhist practices like meditation and the cultivation of insight. A blameless life reduces inner conflict and distraction, allowing us to focus on the inner work of awakening. Interconnection with other types of happiness. Anavajasukha is deeply interconnected with the other types of happiness outlined by the Buddha. It builds upon the stability of Ate Sukha, ownership, the joy of Bhoga Sukha, enjoyment, and the freedom of Ananasukha, freedom from debt. Together, these types of happiness form a holistic path that supports and reinforces each other, creating a robust foundation for a fulfilling life. Challenges in pursuing Anavakasukha and how to overcome them. The temptation of compromise. In a complex world, there can be pressure to compromise our ethical standards for convenience or advantage. Overcoming this requires regular reflection on our values and a commitment to holding ourselves accountable. When faced with temptation, recalling the deeper benefits of a blameless life can strengthen our resolve. The struggle with imperfection. No one lives a perfectly blameless life. The key is to approach our journey with kindness and patience, recognizing that growth comes through effort and learning from mistakes. When we falter, it's important to acknowledge the misstep, make amends if possible, and recommit to our ethical aspirations without self-judgment. Navigating social and cultural pressures. Social norms and cultural expectations can sometimes conflict with our ethical commitments. Staying true to Anavakasukha may require courage and clear communication with others about our values. Finding communities that support and share our ethical vision can provide strength and encouragement. Conclusion. The happiness of living a blameless life, or Anavakasukha, represents the culmination of the Buddha's teachings on happiness for householders. It is a deep and abiding joy that arises from living with integrity, compassion, and wisdom. By striving to align our actions with ethical principles and cultivating mindfulness in all aspects of life, we create a foundation for lasting peace and fulfillment. Anavakasukha reminds us that true happiness is not found in external achievements or possessions, but in the quality of our hearts and the impact of our lives on others. It is a call to live with intention, to choose compassion over harm, and to walk a path that leaves the world a little better than we found it. By embracing the teachings on Anavakasukha, we discover that the greatest legacy we can leave is not wealth or fame, but the positive influence of a life lived with integrity and love. This is the highest happiness, a happiness that endures beyond the fleeting pleasures of the material world and touches the lives of all those we encounter. This detailed exploration of Anavakasukha concludes the series on the Buddha's teachings on happiness for householders. Together, these 4 types of happiness, ownership, enjoyment, freedom from debt, and blameless living, form a comprehensive guide to creating a life of balance, fulfillment, and profound contentment. Final thoughts on Buddhist teachings on happiness. As we conclude this exploration of the Buddha's teachings on happiness for householders, we are reminded of the profound wisdom that guides us toward a life of balance, fulfillment, and contentment. The 4 types of happiness, ati, sukha, ownership, bhogasukha, enjoyment, anunasukha, freedom from debt, and anavakasukha, blameless living, offer a comprehensive roadmap for navigating the complexities of worldly life while cultivating inner peace and ethical integrity. The holistic path to happiness. These teachings remind us that happiness is not a single-dimensional experience, but a multifaceted journey. Each type of happiness builds upon the previous one, creating a foundation that supports and reinforces our well-being. Anavakasukha teaches us the value of earning wealth righteously, laying the groundwork for financial stability and personal fulfillment. Anavakasukha invites us to mindfully enjoy the fruits of our labor, deepening our appreciation for life's experiences and relationships. Anunasukha liberates us from the burdens of debt, bringing peace of mind and financial freedom. Anavakasukha elevates our lives through ethical living, compassion, and wisdom, creating a legacy of positive impact. Together, these principles form a holistic path that honors both our material and spiritual needs, guiding us toward a life that is truly fulfilling. Throughout these teachings, the Buddha's emphasis on the middle way is evident. We are encouraged to avoid extremes, neither indulging in excess nor renouncing the world entirely. Instead, we learn to engage with life skillfully, finding balance in our pursuit of happiness. This balanced approach ensures that our actions align with our values and contribute to the well-being of all beings. As you conclude this journey through the Buddhist teachings, consider how you might incorporate these principles into your daily life. Reflect on your relationship with wealth, your approach to enjoyment, your financial habits, and your commitment to ethical living. Small, consistent changes can lead to profound transformations over time. The Buddhist teachings are not merely theoretical wisdom, but practical guides for living. He might remind us, happiness never decreases by being shared. Live simply, love generously. Care deeply, speak kindly. Leave the rest to karma. Your present circumstances don't determine where you go. They merely determine where you start. The mind is everything. What you think you become. If these teachings have resonated with you and brought clarity or inspiration to your pursuit of happiness, we invite you to share this wisdom with others who might benefit from it. By sharing these teachings, you help spread the light of understanding and compassion. We also encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more insights into Buddhist philosophy, practical mindfulness practices, and guidance for living a meaningful life. Together, we can continue to explore the path toward greater peace, happiness, and connection. May these teachings serve as a foundation for your journey, and may you find the happiness that comes from living with wisdom, compassion, and integrity.